I just want you to know, were you not here the last time?
No, I wasn't.
Nobody laughed, everybody got
Yeah,
together.
smooth that one.
Yeah, everybody in one.
I'm sorry, all right, go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask everyone to first close their eyes here, the my speech, and I'm going to make you guys think about when you guys are going to have kids someday. And I want you to think about where you're going to send them to school, if you're going to send them to public or private school. I guess for my circumstances, I was sent to both. And basically the thing that I want people to think about first is I want to think about money and their morals and achievement at both schools. I think the thing that's really important about this topic is that there's a lot of people that can be divided, and a lot of times families are divided upon the topic about where do you want to send their kids, because sometimes both parents are the same denomination, other times one is one denomination, the other is another. What I think is the most important about this topic, though, is that you got to think about how much money you want to spend, and if you want to spend it, and what kind of achievement you can get out of the school, and if your moral values tell you you need to. For me, it was best for this topic is because I was sent to a public school for 6 years, for my last 6 years of school, and a private school for 7 years. Most importantly, I think to think about are probably morals. Morals are very important because some families have a denomination where they're both Catholic, and in a way, my family was Catholic. Both my parents were, so they decided to send me to St. Malachy's. But there's also situations where one parent is a Catholic and the other one is not Catholic, so it makes the decision a little bit harder, and that's where it comes where I think that most people shouldn't go. I think that if your moral values tell you that you should, then it makes sense, but for the most part, there really are other reasons why you shouldn't. My first reason would be because of finances. Finances are a very big reason. I was looking around and I went to Lombard Montini's school website and looked at the base fee for to go to school there. It costs $10,475 just for tuition to go there for 1 year. Over 11 years, that comes to over $40,000. That's before you even go to college, so just to think about that. Also, I had a personal interview with a friend of my stepfather's whose name is Matt Steffen. He was telling me about how his family used to live in the inner city of Chicago, then they moved out to the Wheaton area so they could send their kids to public school, better public schools, not like charter prep schools. And now they've sent their kids to private school for the last couple of years, and one of their daughters is getting to about high school age. He said they're looking into a couple schools. One of them is Montini, and the other one is Lyle Bennett. To go to Lyle Bennett, he said it costs about $15,000 a year, so just put that also in perspective, coming to about $60,000 right there. Another important factor that I like anyone to think about is just the achievement. In a book, The Public School's Advantage, Why Public Schools Can Outperform Private Schools, the author of the book stated how it's really hard to first of all compare the two because the socioeconomic status of a lot of private schools to public schools are very different. A lot of people who attend private school are normally on the Caucasian side, and they have a higher socioeconomic status. So he states in the book that it's very hard to compare the two. But once they take down those factors, he compares the two kinds of schools and shows that public schools actually come out higher on standardized tests, and in the end, it's definitely more worth it to send your kids to public school. Secondly, I'd like to talk about my own experiences with achievement. Obviously, like I said, I went to both private and public school, and at my private school, I really had an alright time, but I didn't really think it was the best achievement I could possibly have. And I know that high schools, they do it the same way as they did in my elementary school, where they have the kids go to church and they do religion-based activities, which, I mean, they can be good for your knowledge, but practical knowledge for life, it doesn't necessarily help you to know about the Bible and to know about those certain types of subjects. So that's one thing that I didn't really like. I didn't like how we had to take time out of our day to go to church when we could be studying other materials. So those are the couple of things that I liked, but I also liked, the things I liked about public school were that for one of my first visual aids I'll use is this hat, where I got to be united with everybody from my town. I got to play sports and activities with everybody, and I think it was just a really good way for me to be with all my friends being in a public school, where I do agree that you can make friends at a private school. They're just not all going to live in the same town as you, so it's going to make things a little more difficult in that sense. And then the other reason I like the public school system is because you don't have to pay thousands on thousands of dollars to go to them. And on top of that, it's just a very fun experience where the whole community can get involved. I think that for schooling, you got to remember the scenario that I thought about first, and think about if anything that you thought about at first changed. Maybe now, since I know a lot of people here have gone to public school, they probably already thought about public school at first. But I mean, one of the most other important things that I just think are very important is the money, and that's what I'm going to leave you with. Is first of all this dollar bill right here, and second of all, I'm going to leave you with a quote from the Chicago Tribune that says that they said how to raise a 17-year-old for 17 years it cost $300,000. So if you added having them go to private school at Montini for 4 years, that's going to be an extra about $40,000, which is going to increase that 15% more over their lifetime. So you have to think about it. Is it worth it in the end? And possibly it's probably not. So be smart and choose public.